You're back home now, aren't you? You're not.
I am back home.
How was you're at National Theatre, weren't you?
I was.
Bloody hell!
Get me. Me la-di-da ways. It was
That is a la-di-da
good.
way.
It was a good job. It was good.
What was the play?
It was called Bacchae, based on an ancient Greek play of a very similar name. In that it was called the Bacchae. And yeah, it was aimed really for the youth to get into Greek theatre, I think, and theatre in general. So it was the first show of a new artistic director, and it had lots of street dancing in it, and it was all written in kind of
Done by you, street dancing.
I avoided that happily. This man don't dance, and it was good piece. Next thing I'm on to is in January, February. I'm at the Queen's Theatre, Hornchurch, in Joe Orton's Loot. So that's my.
Oh, nice.
So that's a good meaty one. So it should be fun there.
You're off in January for a new play.
Yeah.
And you've just done something at the National Theatre. Are you not going to fill your December with a panto?
I have done panto twice in my career, and I would love to do it again every time. It's great fun.
Really?
Yeah, I love panto.
I wasn't expecting.
No, it's great. It's great. I played the Dame once, and last year was a Christmas show rather than a panto. But I love working with kids over Christmas. That's great fun. It's really good.
That's the thing. Like, I can imagine that panto is one of two schools of thought where you're either too good for it, or you realise this is the most enjoyable version of our job, where we get to like perform, be silly, but also you get to see the entertainment pay off with the children.
Yeah. So I'm in the latter camp, definitely.
Do you see Stevenson's currently doing a panto up in Nottingham? I think.
Is he?
I think he is. Yeah.
What is he doing? What role is it?
What is he doing? He is. Let's have a look.
I'd love to see his Twanky.
But what about the theatre? Nottingham Panto. Let's have a look. It's Cinderella.
Yep.
And Prince Charming.
Well, why not?
I mean, it makes sense. You've got Craig Revel Forward playing.
Oh, very good.
The Wicked Stepmother. I don't know who Neil Hurst is or Christina Bianco.
You don't need to know. You've got Stevenson and Craig Revel. That's all you need to know.
That's true.
Why wasn't I up for that role? I'm going to call my agent straight away.
You should have told them. Should have straight in
my
there.
Prince Charming.
Why aren't you Prince Charming?
Yeah. Why?
Why? Yeah, I do. I feel bad because I missed his run as Simba in The Lion King.
Oh, yeah.
Because he went back and did that,
yeah,
and I completely missed it. And I was like, I kept meaning to go see him because I've never seen The Lion King live, and I thought, well, if my friend's Simba, it feels like that's the perfect time to do it. Yeah. And then I was in London for just an evening, and I thought, like, oh, are you performing this evening? Because then I'll come and watch it. And he was like, my last performance is 2 days before then. And I was like, well, fuck you then. I won't bother. Such a... I'm not going to go see The Lion King.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a shame.
Welcome to Your Life in Film. I'm your host, Ted Bennett. Joining me this week is Simon Startin. Simon is an actor, a director, a playwright, and a disability activist. Having just gotten off the National Theatre, Simon will be at the Queen's Theatre next January in Joe Orton's Loot. Simon was also in my film, Real Terror. How's it going, Simon?
It's going. It's all good.
It's the best we can ask for.
Yeah, that's all I hope for.
It's all you can ever hope for. So you've made your career in theatre mainly, but you've also starred in TV and film.
I have done a little bit, yes.
You've done a little. You've dabbled.
Yeah.
Available what was for more. Always available for more.
Yes, contact my agent.
Details in the description.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you say was your favourite TV performance that you did?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say the one I had the most fun doing might not have been my best performance, but I had fun was in Musketeers for the BBC. Original. I just imagined my 7-year-old self being absolutely over the moon about being in the Musketeers and doing swords fighting and getting my face blown up and all kinds of things. It was just, it was great. So and then I went on a mother of all pub crawls with the actor Richard Dormer afterwards, which was great. So perfect, and it was all in Prague, so it was a beautiful backdrop to it all. So yeah, I think that's the most favourite. Yeah,
that is a good one, and I think that you do forget. People do forget sometimes that in the acting world, you only ever see the highest of the highs, if you know what I mean. You never really remember like those jobbing actors that get to go from set to set and be in little things. It's actually all of the surrounding elements that, being able to go to Prague and then the pub crawl afterwards, but it's that being around other actors and having a lovely time. Yeah, those always add a lot more to it.
Obviously, as an actor, you want to do the best job and be wonderful and lauded or whatever, and make some money. But really, it's about the adventure of each job. You're addicted to the adventure of what's next. I have been in situations where I've known I would be in the same place in 3, 5, 10 years' time, and I've got out very quickly because I can't bear it. So that's in my temperament as an actor to do that.
It is an interesting one that, although that idea of not being stuck in one place for so long, with a play you are repeating essentially the same performance. Obviously there is nuance in every show, but that idea of performing the same thing over and over and over is almost at odds. It's sort of opposed to that idea.
Well, you say that, but essentially is the key word there, because that's the hard part. Because, yes, whilst to the outside you will not notice much of a difference perhaps between each show, the pursuit, and it's a difficult one, is to keep that feeling of liveness and keep that feeling of fresh minting it. And to do that, you do different things, internally at least, and sometimes externally, to try and keep that thing alive. Otherwise, what's the point? You're repeating it over and over again in the same way mechanically. It doesn't interest me. So we keep it live and keep developing it and honing it, because you have some rehearsals, but that's not going to be the completed project for me. I think it's about getting better, and that ease that comes with doing it lots and lots, and then you able to just really play with it. That can be a joy. That said, I haven't done a run for longer than 5 months in my career, and 5 months was a long time ago. So these days, theatre runs are perhaps 2 months, 3 months at most, and it's not really time to get bored in that period.
That's true.
If you're doing the West End for 2 years, if I ever do, talk to me then, because that sounds like something difficult.
I mean, rewarding financially, but difficult.
Well, that's why you do it
creatively. It is why you do it, I guess, because there's fewer and fewer acting jobs. That maybe not acting jobs, but fewer and fewer juicier roles, I would say, at the moment.
Yeah. I've got no complaints over the last few years. It's kind of good roles come to me.
That's good.
But I haven't done a role where I just sit in the dressing room. I quite like to sit in the dressing room for most of the show and turn up and score a last-minute winner. That would be great. But they keep making me work for my money, which is no fun at all. I would much rather sit and watch the telly in the dressing room. But that's true. But no, why do you say that? Why do you say there's less roles now?
Because I think there's quite an oversaturation at the moment of, let's say, directors and playwrights and writers. That everyone is seeming to attempt to make it at the moment. Yeah. And I think there seems to be a lot of focus on getting something hot out there quickly and not necessarily refining to get it finished.
Yeah.
So I would say there's a lot of roles out there where I'm going to go focus more into film because that's my focus. But I see a lot of films at the moment where I'm like, you've got a wonderful first act. You might even have an acceptable second act, but you didn't have a finish.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because your actors are wonderful. And what they're doing, I would love to see how this is going to translate throughout to the end, but you haven't given them the end. Or they're all trying to... I've been delicate with this. I think a lot of people in the creative industry at the moment are all trying to make sure that they're the ones that succeed and not the final product.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, it's how do I look the best and make sure I look good in the socials, and not necessarily how do we make sure that the play is the most well-received thing, and it was the ensemble that made it.
Yeah, maybe that's a disappearance of a director, the auteur director. Because
maybe
and handing it out to the money men to make the money. I think that's possibly part of it. And obviously, money's got a lot more difficult in terms of films for the streaming. Has made it dried up all the money unless you're doing a blockbuster, which isn't, I would say, almost always entirely driven by the money men. But that idea of, because the third act not working is because I think the artists involved, the director / writer, whatever, didn't know what they wanted to say.
Right. So they had a series of cool shots.
There's some cool shots, or they had a concept. They might have a world, might have some characters, and then they try and seek, well, what did you actually want to say about that world? Whatever works. And that's not really the thing. Like I teach writing as well, and the thing I say, it doesn't have to be static, but have an image. I say have an image of the climax of the piece, and have an image of the last thing in the piece, maybe that film or play, whatever. Have those two images and head towards those, and then it will start to coalesce backwards into the rest of it because you know where you're headed. Oftentimes you'll get to the third act and say, well, why did I do that? I need to change that, and then go back again. But at least you've headed somewhere and you have a firm idea, an evolving idea of where you're going with it and what you wanted to say.
I am always amazed whenever I meet a fellow sort of filmmaker and I ask their process, and they just say like, oh, I had this idea and I just started writing it and I didn't know where it was going and I went on the journey with it. And I was like, let's see how that worked. Because I don't understand how I have to be able to see it. And I have to be able to see 75% of it, because if I can see all of it, then that's a wonderful story that I'll enjoy and I don't need to show anyone else. But if I can see 75% of it, then I build my way there, and then when we create the film, in the edit, I'll see the whole thing and I'm like, there it is. But I do sometimes wonder when people say like, oh, I just started writing. I'm just like, how? How did you just start writing?
It's kind of how novelists work, isn't it? Or many of them.
Many of them,
yes. Was it Iris Murdoch, didn't she? Had the whole thing plotted out in infinite detail,
which would make sense to me.
Well, it meant her novels have a lot of structural magic and complexity to them. So there you go. She knew what she was doing in terms of form and could get there. But we all have an instinct of how a story works, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to have a story. But often when we try and create one, we don't really know how it truly know how it works, and we should go and study story writing. But your Robert McKee and Sid Field, etc., and work it out from there. Yeah, it's a hard bit. I mean, I can't claim to be fantastic at it, so I find plot extraordinarily difficult. I'm good at characters and stuff like that because I'm an actor, but I'm not. I don't think I'm much better if I'm adapting another story, I think.
I'm inclined to agree, because because I always find as well that I'm worlds, characters and ideas, I got them. I need someone else to then come in and discuss it with me, and then be like, well, why is this going here? And I'm like, this is going here because this reason. And they're like, and how does that apply to this? It's like, that gets me to this one because of this way. And it takes someone else asking me these questions for me to plot it out in that way, and then we write it as a full script. Whereas if it's on my own, it's in such a shorthand that if anyone was to read it and they didn't know everything that I was thinking, the script would be absolute horseshit. and I need that other person to come in and just sort of help me get there. Because in the shooting, my interest is mainly in the performance. I think the story is told through the character and their face.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it's told.
Yeah.
So that's where my focus is. It's like, well, this is the story I want to tell, and it's in this person, and here's the idea and the themes. But someone needs to come in there and fill in all the words for me, and then I can focus on the thing that I find important, which is the performance.
Yeah, that seems like a
nice.
reasonable way to progress.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So yes, let's crack on. Let's get into the first question proper. What was the first film that you saw at the cinema?
I believe it was Bambi. I was probably about 3 or 4 years old, and I have no memory of this, probably because it's a very traumatic experience, apparently, because I screamed the place down. Because obviously it's about a boy who loses his mum, isn't it, really? Or a deer that loses his mum. And I must have found that idea of, you mean I could lose her? And that's...
She'll go at some point.
Oh, my God. So that was a bit, but I don't have a memory of that. First one I remember would be Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Which was totemic at that time, 1977, wasn't it? I think it came out.
It was.
And that was good. And we went to see it at the Birmingham Odeon, which no doubt now has been broken up into tiny little multiplexes, but at the time was absolutely enormous. And there was probably about 1,000 people in the auditorium, and it was just like, and my dad went with us as well as my mum, which was a very rare event. So it must have been special. He didn't do that sort of thing, but we went together and it was great. So that was a fundamental memory. More so for my brother, who for a long time watched Star Wars every month for about 20 years, because he was a bit younger and had a greater effect on him. But yeah, I think Bambi was probably the very first one.
I went to see The Lion King with my grandmother when I was young, when that came out, and she mocked me because the part where Mufasa dies, I cried.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, you were bloody wailing. We had to leave." And I was like, "Yeah, the idea of losing your father is horrible."
Yeah.
Like, what are you on about?
We're sensitive boys, you see.
We are.
Sensitive men of quiche. That's all we are.
And that's all we are.
I cried in butcher's shops, as a youth. Yes.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Get as many Withnail quotes in as early as we can.
Okay, good. I'll get there. Well, why haven't I got cake?
Miss Blenner Hazard. So Star Wars was also a film that you started in young. So when it comes to films that you saw as a child, and you're saying that your brother watched it over and over and over, what films did you watch over and over again as a child?
Well, I didn't watch films. I've never been into watching films. I want the next thing. Really? As a child, you see, I'm showing my age, we didn't have videos. It was on the telly, so there might have been Spartacus, probably was on quite a lot, and Wizard of Oz, Great Escape. They were all played in the 70s and 80s, but I would have watched those perhaps once, but I don't think I saw Great Escape until I was a teenager. And my parents kept a tight rein on that sort of thing, so I wouldn't have seen anything which wasn't age specific, really. But I would have watched a lot of films because my mum loved films. So oddly, like she loved those black and white 1930s movies and stuff like that with Bette Davis, whoever. So I kind of fell in love with those movies as much as anything. How I'm not a gay man, I don't know, but it's kind of Bette Davis, where it's wonderful. Oh, and all these, so those films. I remember there was a film with Ralph Richardson, and I can't remember what it's called. It was about a boy in a dark house and secrets, and Ralph Richardson was this intimidating butler who had secrets, and I think there was a murder involved or something like that. That was a fantastic film, which to this day I'll have to dig out and find out what it was. But it was, I remember it was done by London Films with a Big Ben kind of in the background, and that was I remember that much. So yeah, I adored films, and I was always called Square Eyes as a kid. because I spent so much time, if I could, watching telly. Not as much time as kids now do watch telly, because we only had 3 channels, and the children's stuff was there at lunchtime and at tea time, and that was it. So
whereas now you can put a screen in front of your kid 24/7.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's not good.
Would you say that watching those old 30s black and white films was the reason you became an actor?
I'm sure it's somewhere in the background of it.
But it wasn't it wasn't you were watching these old, Now Voyager and thinking, I'm doing that.
No, I think that light bulb turned on not until I was a teenager, and I'd started doing it myself at school plays and stuff like that, and getting laughs. I think that was the thing that hooked me, was the ability to get laughs. And
that's interesting.
And then I think by the time I wanted to go to drama school from about 14 onwards, but my father said, no, you're not. And I got pushed. I went there myself as well, into doing a degree at Edinburgh in computer science and artificial intelligence, which is an odd one now in retrospect. But I found in acting, as I got more into it, I started reading Stanislavski and just studying it. That seemed like a whole world of skill and understanding and knowledge drew in front of me, and I was hooked from that point onwards. And seeing actors Olivier and Richardson or whatever, and a myriad of other actors, I kind of thought I wanted to be that. I didn't realise that my being disabled would have an impact on that until I perhaps got to university and met the sort of prejudice of the world in that way. But up until that point, I was Alec Guinness in my head.
It's madness that, considering the whole world of acting is make-believe, that anybody could potentially play a certain character, with a few limitations, of course, but anyone can play any character. And I do feel like it's even today, there's still that thing of, why has that character got crutches? Because they do.
Yeah, that's not disability is the story that trumps all stories, it seems, and people can't get over their fixation in perhaps the way that, I mean, not entirely, but certainly we've come a long way with around gender and around race. Yep. But disability is the final obsession of people who are kind of think we should stay in our place and not tell people's stories.
And I'm always, there's. I watched Roofman last night, right, the Channing Tatum film, which has Peter Dinklage in, and Peter Dinklage plays the manager of a Toys R Us, and at no point is his condition ever mentioned, which is as it should be. It's a man working as a manager at Toys R Us, and I did think, like, it's a shame that he's and this sentence is going to sound awkward. Is the only one that Hollywood will let in. Yeah,
it is, and he got in by, well, he got in, I suppose, initially playing the crappy roles or the joke roles, didn't he? Elf and things like that, which he did spectacularly well. I mean, he's a fabulous actor. But then with Game of Thrones, he got written a part which embraced his disabled identity without a doubt, but was so well written and had an arc of many seasons. How many seasons there were, can't remember. And so people eventually say, "Oh, there's a human being." Oh, it's not. It's not that thing.
Oh, I never
noticed that.
I never noticed that. I always just thought they were Ewoks.
Yeah. And so that's really important. Is in terms of the road to equality starts with kind of genuine thought and empathy of someone's life, rather than just sitting there, we'll have that tick, we'll have that tick, we'll have that tick. And that doesn't just apply to disabled people, that applies to a lot of shallowness of thought. Whereas Game of Thrones has its faults, but you can't be accused of being shallow, can it, really? I don't think you can.
No. And I would say that even in, is it Living in Oblivion, the film with Steve Buscemi in the early 90s?
Don't know that one.
Dinklage is in that,
Yeah.
and he was hired to be in a crazy dream sequence, and the character says, like, why am I in the crazy dream sequence? And they're like, oh, because it's all weird. And he's like, what's weird?
Yeah.
And he's like, he's trying to get them to say, it's like, because you're a short person.
Yeah.
And he was like, right, so that's the only reason it's weird, is it?
Yeah.
And it was like, even from the 90s, he's been pushing for this, and it's taken him 30 years to get here.
Yeah.
And it's madness.
Yeah.
There are a lot of those things in acting where it's the dual nature of agreeing and disagreeing when they say that a trans actor should only play a trans character, and it's like, yes, but also no, because then a trans character can't play a cis character, is by that metric.
Yeah.
Or a gay character can only be played by a gay actor. It's like, then by the other metric, they can't play a straight person, which, that doesn't make sense. Like, why can't they? We're all acting, aren't we? As long as it's all done with respect and character and focus driven.
Yeah.
That shouldn't really be part of it. But then I also think
it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Also, if that's the only role that these sort of minority groups are getting, then it's like, well, then I don't want to take it away from them.
No.
So how about we just give them more roles?
Yeah.
And then it's like,
have
we just opened the doors to everyone? Let's just have a nice
there's
time.
no problem, isn't there? But
there's no problem.
But there's gateway roles, like the role of Richard III, for example, which I think recently, I won't go into it, but an able-bodied actor played the role, and I would fight to the death for the right for anyone to do that role. I don't really personally think that what they call cripping up is a useful activism concept, because I want to see disabled people play as a myriad of other roles representative of the 99% of their identity DNA, which people aren't obsessed with, because that's far more interesting. But there is that actor taking on the role of a disabled role did kind of stuff a disabled actor from a gateway role, which would have improved their career and get them seen and all those sort of things. That's the only. So the techniques of the industry are the problem. Not, I don't think. As you say, we should play that, but we don't really want to see, because of the complete lack of respect and acknowledgement of history. We don't allow white actors to black up anymore.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Like,
so
I think when I say there's that limitation.
But there's the taboo, isn't it? That's the thing, and you have to say, well, why? And there's good reason, obviously, reasons, but it doesn't apply for disabled actors, apparently.
No, that's true.
In general.
And also accents.
Yeah.
As long as you're white, you're allowed to do the white accents.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? They're another country, they're another group of people who have their own identity that isn't yours. There is technically no difference between me doing an Irish accent, let's say, and an Asian accent. And when I say Asian, I'll be specific, I'll say Japanese. And when I was learning Japanese,
this is a film I want to see. being Japanese with Ted Bennett, that would be good. Let
me tell you how it's meant to be, everyone. But even when I was learning Japanese, my Japanese teacher was saying, like, no, do the accent. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do the accent. They were like, I'm a Japanese person, you're learning Japanese, do the accent, it'll sound more Japanese. And I just felt really uncomfortable doing it. And it's just like, why should I? Why should I be uncomfortable doing it? I'm speaking the language and I'm learning it, and I'm not learning it to be disrespectful. I'm learning it because I enjoy hearing that language and watching and consuming Japanese cinema, and I wanted to be able to just watch it without the subtitles. But even then I was like, oh, no, I shouldn't be doing that.
I'm reminded of the film True Romance, where Gary Oldman plays a drug dealer, psychotic drug dealer, and he puts a Jamaican accent. And it was great because he saw a world, he opened up a world into that character. Perhaps of being a phony, and just trying to play and think there's a legitimate reason. Perhaps it might smart on people watching it now, but it opened up that character in an interesting way. So,
and you can't tell me that character isn't wonderful.
Yeah,
and he did as ever a wonderful performance.
Yeah,
but it was excellent.
A brave choice.
Very brave.
Yeah,
but I imagine that was at the peak of his drinking, and maybe he didn't think anything was wrong with it at the time.
Possibly.
And in the early 90s, probably no one thought it was a problem at the time.
Yes.
So, talking about true romance will lead us nicely into our next question.
Yeah.
What was the first... I guess it would be X-rated for you, wouldn't it? It would have been...
Yeah.
Yeah, so X-rated film. What was the first X-rated film you saw, and how old were you?
It's tricky. Because, again, I wouldn't have gone to the cinema. That would have seen it. That wouldn't have happened. I think this is a bit of a weird one. I remember there's two answers to this. I can't remember which one would be first, but
okay.
One's an interesting story and one's weird. What the interesting story is, I remember there was a series of I think it might have been Channel 4. They showed a season of Hammer horror films.
Nice.
Which I wasn't allowed to watch. However, I lived at that time in a Tudor cottage, lovely, and there was a hole in the door from the stairways down. I could watch it through the corner, and I sat there very quietly, and watched my mother watching The Ghoul, and Shuttered Door as well. Shuttered Window. I can't remember what it's called. One of Oliver Reed, and watch those, kind of glimpsed it, and every so often I'd go to a toilet a lot so I could get even more of a view. But I don't think I saw the film in any degree of understanding. It was just be able to see that the horror of the ghoul's foot, which is brilliantly shot in that. It's so terrifying I must have been about 12 or something like that. So there's that. And another time was, I as a kid I spent a lot of time in hospital. So this might have been quite a way before then. And they had television. I think as a child I might have been put in an adult ward. And there was a late night showing of a Swedish film called Men Can't Be Raped.
Christ.
And I watched that and wondered what the hell was going on. But it had nudie bits, as we used to call them in the 70s. So I probably was trying to see what was going on. And the story is a really weird film in a sense, in today's politics particularly, in that a woman gets raped, so the woman decides to kidnap the rapist and do it to him.
Right.
And that's the thing. And I can't remember.
Baise-moi, but in Swedish.
Yes. Yeah.
Lovely.
So that's what it was. So
that's such an odd thing that would be shown at a...
Yeah,
I know it wasn't shown at a hospital, but you know what I mean.
It would have been late at night, and I was probably awake and supposed to be asleep. But I sat there watching it. Yeah, you think there's kids present? I could sue the NHS for something.
You should.
Yeah,
you should, because what we know about the NHS is that they've got too much money.
Yeah, I think so.
And too much time on their hands.
They've got more than I have. There we go.
That's true. Well, I guess that might be the answer to the next question, but what was the first film that you watched that you considered grown-up?
Well, that would have been a grown-up film, wouldn't it? But again, all these grown-up themes, watching Ben-Hur, I think it was quite a while before I was allowed to watch Ben-Hur, which was shown regularly on TV, and being able to stay up late to watch the chariot race and stuff like that. That was an adult film, wasn't it? That's probably, I don't know what that would be classified as now, viewed as fairly violent at the time. And
I believe it's a U.
Yeah, it probably is. It shouldn't be. It's really brutal. So, yeah, all those films, what is an adult film in terms of its themes is films where it deals with violence and sexuality and stuff like that, which can be something like Spartacus has, sexuality in it and violence. I mean, the poor man gets crucified. I mean, that's fairly violent, isn't it? So, and I would have seen those all the way through my childhood. St. Trinian's, thinking about that, that's a film for a young boy to watch, isn't it? I think that might have been fairly up there. And also about a question of where the rules break down and stuff like that, whether the idea of going to school and then coming back and watching St. Trinians and going, could we get away with that? Yeah.
No,
wouldn't have happened. But yeah,
but hey,
yeah,
hey, you have St. Trinians on, and if anyone came in, you just turn it over to the Titfield Thunderbolt.
Yeah, exactly. No one would know.
No one would know. I'm just watching an adult man open his own train company so he can get drunk before 12 o'clock.
Yes. That is what it is.
That's the only reason he paid.
Yeah. Fabulous.
So, what film holds a special place in your heart?
Oh, it's a really hard one, isn't it? But I for a long time, I would say it was Wings of Desire.
Nice.
I really loved that film for a long time. I think others have replaced it in the pantheon now, but that was the film. I think an art film in German, for God's sake, or partially, but just something about it touched me really deeply, and I loved watching that film. And I've watched it. One of the few films I have watched again and again is Wings of Desire.
When do you reckon you'll show it to the kids?
Oh, I didn't discover it until I was post 18 myself, so there's no reason to watch it before then. I don't think you'd get it when you were too young, would you? It's not really.
No, I think that I do think there's a lot of those films, like is it Canal, which is the Polish war film about everyone trying to get through the sewers so they didn't have to go through the streets.
Yeah.
During World War II, whatever. It's like, yeah, it's a war film, like whatever. Yeah. But if you were to watch it sort of at the same age that you'd watch other war films, you'd be like, I don't really understand. It's not really happening. It's just going on. It's like, no. It's about human struggle. It's about this. And it's about that. Yeah. And people just don't.
Yeah, I suppose it has a metaphor and has the courage not to be a Hollywood story, which is basically, I think all Hollywood films are essentially, most of them are children's stories in the sense that it's bad world, make nice.
Yes. And I recently watched Speak No Evil, the original Dutch or Danish version, and then also the remake with James McAvoy. And much like The Vanishing and the Hollywood remake of The Vanishing, the original European version is just bleak and miserable and perfect. Yeah. But then the Hollywood version, it's like, and then obviously evil is trumped over and goodness prevails and you get the girl and everyone's happy, and it's like, sometimes it's nice to see it not go that way.
To be serious for a moment, I think this is really dangerous for our culture, because the form we're missing. Make nice is comedy. It may not be a film which is funny, but that in terms of Aristotle's poetics, that form is a comedy, a happy ending. And so the tragedy, our ability to see the world as a series of inevitable forces that create that and have the catharsis of tragedy, is extremely important for us as a culture. And if we avoid it at our peril, it makes us grow up. It makes us deal with things which American cinema doesn't want us to think about.
I completely agree.
Yeah,
I'm really struggling at the moment to watch most Hollywood films because they're all aimed at 25-year-old boys.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't sit and watch everyone making wisecracks and jokes and no one being a grown-up, because the world isn't funny at the moment. World isn't, we're not having a good time, and what we should be taught is that, it's not always good, it's not always nice. Ironically enough, Rocky does a better job, because it's about persevering and trying, and if you get knocked down, that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with failure. Failure is where you learn. So let's learn and let's have some tragedy, because then you actually open something up about you that you didn't realize you knew, and then you get to experience something. And I'm not saying everyone should go and watch Decalogue, but everyone should definitely go watch Decalogue and just watch that and realize that beautiful stories don't have to be nice in any way.
No. I mean, I think in terms of the films that replaced Wings of Desire and the Pantheon would be Tarkovsky's films, which are of such richness. I mean, for me, he's the master of it all. Really, he's so poetic and wonderful. Yes. Not a happy ending in sight, really. and takes a very long time getting there, but it's kind of but fabulous if you can have the chance, the space just to calm yourself down and surrender to that vision. It is extraordinary.
I would say the only modern day filmmaker that's doing that is Gaspar Noé, because his Enter the Void, I mention it quite often, but it's a good 2+ hours of absolute misery.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's really good.
And like a lot of his films are just miserable, but in that poetically miserable.
Yeah.
And it's not misery for the sake of misery. It's not a torture porn. It's not all that nonsense. Yeah. It's just, this is the most realistic thing I'm seeing. It's that Italian neorealism sort of thought of, I'm just going to show you a period of time, and in that time there's a story to be interpreted. It's up to you to find it. And it's like, because that's life. You go between people and places, and you experience people, and you think, fucking hell, no one's got anything to say. And then you overhear a conversation, and you kind of just think, what's going on over there? And then all of a sudden you're in their world, and you think, okay, well, that's good stuff. And then you hear the misery that's in their life, and you're like, oh shit. And then you're being taken on this journey with them, and they have no idea. And then you can sort of be like, okay, well, I'm going to walk away from that. But
I think the purpose of art, make a grand statement of an afternoon.
Go on.
Is one of it, I think, is to make you realise that you're not alone.
Yes.
And this is one of the interesting things of all the AI stuff coming out, is the moment you, however convincing it is, the moment you know it's AI, it ceases to function in the way that art is required, because you never feel more alone once you know it's AI art. It's the most lonely poison we could drink. So we have to have a human in there, speaking to another human.
And it's the same thing my dad always says about going to like National Gallery. You go to this gallery, you go to the paintings that were 500-600 years old, you get as close as you can, and you see a brush mark. And 600 years ago, someone just flicked their wrist. And there's the brush mark, and it's still there 600 years later. And that should mean nothing to anyone. But even in that moment, in that brush stroke, there is energy, there's emotion, there's thought, there's processing, there's everything that the human brain is capable of and wonderful at. And it's just in that one motion. And then when you look at it 600 years later with your Costa, in a thing that would never have existed in their thought process, you're still observing this, and you're seeing human creation and creativity. That, I don't care how good your AI art is. The second, like you said, it becomes like, it's AI, you're like, cool, fuck off. Whereas,
and I don't think that is just Luddite prejudice. I mean, it is.
No.
But I think it's more fundamental than that. I think
it comes from a Luddite prejudice. But
actually,
because but there is something about that human element that if it doesn't exist, I instantly, I'm not impressed by binary code. So
no. Just say no, kids.
Just say no. No to the AI. Even though they will soon become our overlords.
Well, maybe they'll do a better job than ourselves. Maybe.
This leads on quite nicely. What's your controversial opinion on a famous film or the industry as a whole?
Well, controversial opinion on one film is Easy Rider. What a load of crap.
Go on.
Absolutely. Explain. I was just bored. A load of stoners on bikes just saying it's cool, man. Drop out. Get a job. Shut up. Shut up.
You damn hippies.
You damn hippies. I've got no. It's just like it was to people. I don't the glamorizing of drugs. I particularly hate because a life experience of seeing people I love destroyed by them. But it's
Fair.
just and the glamorizing of that. It's just boring. A road movie. I don't really like road movies on the whole. It's a journey, man. No, where's the third act? It's kind of come on. You
The third act is
you didn't know what
Hopper...
you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not moved by it. So yeah, easy. I have to say it's a long time since I sat down. Mainly because the first time I went, what? That's rubbish. Don't like that.
I disagree.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of a controversial opinion.
We can amicably disagree.
We can,
Yeah.
and that's the beauty of this. But I would say that the nihilistic nature of that film and how it was all for nothing at the end was very eye-opening to me as a child.
Okay.
That and watching a child get shot at the beginning of Assault on Precinct 13 were very sort of, I didn't think you could do that. I didn't know you were allowed to. I didn't know you were allowed to show a child dying in a film.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't know you could have your lead character die in a really unheroic, unceremonious, pointless way.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I like what it's doing here. I am also a motorbike person.
Yeah, of course you are. Yes.
Yeah.
Not going to convert you.
Pick your audience.
Yeah.
But I am a big motorcycle person, so watching that film, it's great because I love all that. Seeing early performances from a lot of actors, I say a lot of actors, 3 actors that I then went on to enjoy immensely.
I just see Henry. It's not Henry Fonda. Henry Fonda, I love. Peter Fonda, a deeply overrated actor.
Deeply overrated. Out of the 3 actors in that film that we can name, the worst.
Yeah.
And I love that there's that story that John Lennon, the Beatles song "She Said, She Said," was based on a night out with Fonda, and every story was like, oh, I did this and I did this and I did this, and they were like, oh, he said, and then they were like, change it to she. But it's that song is a sort of like a piss on him, and it's like even better. But
it can't be easy to have Henry Fonda as your dad. Let's be fair. But...
No, I think when it comes to those nepo kids, it is very hard to. You have to do something very different, and I think it's a lot easier when your parents are the Bruce Dern, like Peter Fondas, because then when you rebel, your rebellion is almost in straight-laced work. But then, of course, Laura Dern would go off and do loads of Lynch stuff, which gave her that sort of art house credibility. But even with your Angelica Houstons and your Barrymores and your Jamie Lee Curtises, it's very hard, I think, to take that and make your own career without it ever being like, oh, the Parent is spectacular. How am I meant to compete against that?
Well, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis has done very well. I think all those actors you mentioned, I would, I almost, they have severed that connection in my head. But of course, it's
but
but except Peter Fonda hasn't, because he didn't act well enough. But it's perhaps an easy. I mean, I worry about this for my kids. You see, growing up and seeing, dressing up in clothes and prancing around the stage is a way of being, and it's fun. It's fun and it's interesting, and some actors have a genetic. It kind of passes down, like the Redgraves. I mean, they're all great, aren't they?
Yeah.
And how there must be something in the genes that make them particularly good. But what thus far, my children have not gone into theatre or acting at all, so that's good.
So
they've gone into arty subjects, but
I was going to say there is definitely a performance element to. Like, I don't want to name your kids for you. So one of your kids has done something quite performative.
Annie's she's 27 and at uni now doing music. I don't think she wants to be music. She said, I want to earn money, Dad. So I went, well...
Or then don't go in the arts.
Don't go in the arts, yeah. So,
get into maths. Go work in the city.
Yeah, exactly. But it's in them. but I don't know what the next. I've got for background. I have 4 kids. 2 are adults and 2 are very young. So it's kind of, let's see where the next 2 go, because God knows what the world will be. There won't be any jobs. So let's not go in.
That's
that
that's always the that's always the thing that drives me mad. Is that I would say my generation is the last generation where you could potentially be an artist and earn any money.
Yeah.
Not even a living wage, just you might earn some money.
Yeah.
Yet too.
Yeah.
But you could.
Yeah. That's been ever so. That's always been the case. But very few people would earn, and there'll be some people like myself who cling on, who are rewarded just enough to stay in the game.
But I would say you have been fortunate in that way, that you have been a jobbing actor for nearly 40 years.
Yeah, I have.
Like, that's... A lot of people don't have that. Talent is the main driving force. If you weren't the player that you were, you wouldn't have made it. But obviously you have the talent and the skill, hence why I hired you.
Yeah.
And it is something that not many people get to do. And you do. I've quite a few friends who started acting and they did a few short films and they were good.
Yeah.
They weren't, off the bat amazing, because of course they wouldn't be. And you could see that there was talent in there, and I would have loved to have worked with them and honed them a bit, because I saw where it could go. And then now they're just working. Oh, I just work at this job now. I don't do acting anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's a real shame. And it's annoying that it seems to be, I think Nish Kumar mentioned it recently, it's a job that only the wealthy middle class can afford to do, because they've got the safety net of not having to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we're losing working class actors, which are we need working class actors.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. We need them because their unique life experience shows something else that we don't get to see.
Yeah. And by not seeing it, we kind of tell lies about who we are, and that and lies are the poison. So
nightmare.
Yes, but since we're into the AI apocalypse, it's kind of I think that it's not going to be. No one's going to earn any money, apart from tech bros in San Francisco. No one. Yep. We're all going to be in a kind of extended form of welfare state, and it will be up to us to how we fill our time. And I think artists have a great opportunity and responsibility to kind of help people to adjust to that. I mean, when I was at university, there was a place called the Bedlam, which was a student-run society. You did everything there. You run the budgets, you produced, you directed, you acted, you make costume designed, you clean the toilets. It was all there.
Perfect.
And that was a community of central. There's some people in the centre of it, but about 700 students in all, I would say.
Oh shit!
Around making work, and they did put on about 80 shows a year. It was a mammoth thing.
Hell.
Now that as a model for filling your time meaningfully and having great times, great. Let's do that with post AI. Let's form communities of interests where we can get obsessed by animation or playing squash or doing that, and we just the kind of participatory art will be the way we all function. Yes, the professional will be there. Only a few will be.
I've always thought that if you were to take away the not the concept, I take away the concept of money, I'm not a fan of it. But if you were to take away the driving force of money, what is it that you want to do? Like, I want to make money by doing X. It's like, all right, well, let's say the money is no longer the thing.
What would you do?
What would you do?
Yeah.
And so if everyone's doing the thing that they love and they're not hampered by earning rent or, bills and food and all that stuff, I'm going to say it, everyone, I'm talking universal basic income.
Yeah.
If everyone got their universal basic income so that they could go and do the thing they wanted to do, you would have a lot more interesting of a nation. Mm-hmm. You'd have your dossers in the same way that you always have your dossers. Mm-hmm. But the people that can't do something through a financial limitation no longer have that limitation, and they might become one of the finest artists that this country has to offer. They might be the finest musician that this country has to offer. They might also be the finest scholar, because they have time to sit and consume and learn that they didn't have before. And you're going to tell me they're bad things to have?
Well, I'm going to be your Lennon to your McCartney and say they can also be the best Nazi they could possibly be. They can also be the best biochemist, virus maker. The human beings will, go in various ways.
We'll fuck it up somehow.
Yeah. So, yeah. But let's hope it. Yeah. But if money is at the margins, artists can help people in a very important way, I think.
Yeah.
Because money has been at the margins of what I do most of my life. I obviously have to try and make the budget balance, but essentially, we were talking about my brother earlier. He's had a job as a computer games animator, and he's retired early because he just loathes the job. He loathes it now. Whereas he might have enjoyed it when he first started. Whereas I just pursued something I love and continue to love it.
I will also say that it is a cripplingly short experience we have on this planet. So,
we're getting deep now, mate. Whoa.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to get nice and deep.
We're born astride of a grave.
What's the point of doing something that you don't like for someone else?
Yeah.
Like, if you've only got a short period,
Yeah.
But hey, what have you been watching recently?
Well, I'm trying to remember the film I saw at the cinema recently. Oh God, what was it called? Anyway, I watch a lot of streaming stuff at the moment, so I've been getting into watching the morning show as a piece of...
the Jennifer Aniston...
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the first season. It gets a little bit convoluted in the second season, and I'm waiting to see where it goes, because come on, guys, they've lost the dramatic impetus of the first season to a certain extent, because that was founded around Me Too. And that was obviously a very energetic, dramatic proposition. And I don't think they've really found... They're trying to kill that story off in the second season, really. And they haven't... And they literally... No spoilers, Simon. But essentially, it doesn't quite work. But I've enjoyed that. Slow Horses, watching that. That's quite good.
That's something I haven't caught any of yet.
Yeah, that's good. Apple's on fire in general, I think. Apple doing really well in their dramas, I think.
They are the best,
yeah.
I think, streaming service for this.
Netflix, I think, is in trouble. We'll see.
Well, they're not.
Yeah.
But
I don't want them to be. I want them to pay me a massive check to do it.
Yeah.
Silo. I really enjoyed Silo.
Yep. Silo was really good.
Again, we're talking about there seems to be a driving vision behind these shows. Fully realised. They have the time to do it in terms of a long.
Silo is an adaptation, though.
Yeah. So there we go. That's why often that happens.
But Severance isn't.
No. Again, Severance.
That's bloody good.
Severance is amazing. Yeah, I'm a big sci-fi.
All Apple shows.
Yeah. Whoever's the commissioning editors of that, they're doing a very fine job of taking the right decisions.
They could do a better job by hiring you.
Come on.
Have you seen... Is it Foundation?
I started watching that because I like Asimov, but I haven't. I didn't get beyond the first episode. Should I continue?
A friend of mine,
yeah,
who I would rate they would say yes.
Okay,
definitely worth it.
Okay.
Did you watch The Expanse?
Yes, I love The Expanse. That's great.
I only saw the first series. Stopped for reasons, nothing for anything, whatever. And I might go back and restart it because
definitely.
I loved it.
It's very good. Yeah,
it was very good.
I mean, interesting. Nice. I think sci-fi is going to be the probably the most important kind of genre of our age, because it's the only one that will be able to keep up with what's actually happening. Because technology is going to accelerate our world so quickly.
I was saying this. What I liked about The Expanse is that the ships aren't fancy in any way, and like most of the, and I know it's down to budgetary constraints in the first series, but it's a gaming chair with pretty much an iPad. That's all it is. That is like the thing. But actually looking at how technology is progressing for us, it isn't a whole bank of switches and screens. No. It would just be a single iPad, thrusters, and there we go, off we go.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, like Star Trek got it completely wrong because they were looking at it from technology of their time, extrapolated. Whereas The Expanse has done the same thing, but now we're here. It's like, I can actually imagine that it would just be put a headset on, that'll do.
Although I'm a big car nut and watched lots of reviews of cars on thing, and the most common thing about modern cars is, why is the air conditioning not got a knob?
Fair.
I want to just, I'm on a spaceship, so there's a new one and they put knobs on it and it's really good.
If I could replace all the switches in my truck with those like flight switches where they have the red...
Like a Ineos Grenadier is what you want. They've got the flight switches.
I want a proper...
Yeah.
One of them. Yeah. I'd fit a tactile switch is everything to me.
Love it.
But I like old tech.
Yeah. Yeah. The young won't know. They won't care.
They won't care. They don't care that my amp is a Pioneer Silverstack series with all the lovely dials and knobs and an EQ, and no one cares about that. They won't
care. I care, but you don't know. Anyway, you're not even
old.
Thank
you very much. I'm not even old. I'm not even 40 yet.
Exactly. So,
but
shut your face.
I'm an old soul.
Yeah, indeed.
That's for sure. I'm definitely not a man of my age.
Yes. And on that bombshell.
Yes, thank you very much for being on.
Yep.
It's been wonderful speaking with you. Do you want to promote Loot at all?
Well, I should have a date, but you go to the website of the Queen's Theatre in Hornchurch, and it will give you a date. It's around early February, I think, is when it's on until early March.
Lovely.
How well prepped am I? But anyway, go to the website. They'll tell you.
Perfect. I'll put a link to it in the bio so everyone can have go straight through it. Yeah. I would definitely recommend seeing Simon perform. I've seen him on stage a few times, and it's always a very powerful experience watching him because he does not half-ass.
Oh, that's nice.
Also, in the two things I have seen you on stage, I've seen your ass.
Yes, well, it's fair. It comes with the territory.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon.
Take care, mate.
This has been a Lovable Rogue Productions podcast. Thank you to everyone that listened. If you want to help out your life in film, then download it, like it, share it, and give the pod a follow. I didn't realise till starting this that a download is the way they measure success and not just a listen. So, listening means nothing. Make sure you check out my guests on their socials, which will be in the description of the episode. Take a look at my letterboxd. I've made a list of all the films that have been mentioned on the pod. There's fucking hundreds. So you can find some good films there. There is some good ones. There's some fucking weird ones, and I love them. Quick shout out to some of the podcasts I'm listening to. Caliber 9 from Outer Space. That's Robin Joe's. That's really good. And then The Villain Was Right. That's a great fun. Check that out. If you really want to be a mensch, give me that money. There's a link in the description. It'll explain it all. But a download and a share is excellent, and I actually appreciate that a lot more than you'd think. We currently have no sponsors, but I am open to them. I'll shill anything. I don't care. This has been a Lovable Rogue production. Thank you for listening.